Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something, well, universal in scope, literally.
Yeah, we're looking at the well world crisis. It's this huge convergence of really gritty politics, military campaigns, betrayal.
But tied directly to these massive metaphysical stakes, we're talking the end and rebirth of the entire universe.
Exactly. Our mission today is to kind of synthesize those two levels. How does the immediate dirty ground war around Nathan Brazil connect to him needing to essentially reboot everything?
It sounds like a situation where managing the local politics, these ancient systems, is actually harder than destroying the cosmos.
That's pretty much the crux of it. And a lot of that difficulty comes down to the well world itself. You have to
Okay.
understand, this isn't some random planet.
Right, it's artificial,
Engineered.
deeply engineered. It's a relic from the Markovians, these incredibly advanced, mysterious beings. Think of it as a giant spherical laboratory. It holds 560 separate environments.
They call them hexes, right?
Yeah.
Hexagonal zones. Yeah, contiguous hexagons, each a unique worldlet. Different physics, different biology, maybe even different time flows, all packed together.
1,560 unique planetary ecosystems jammed side by side. That's just staggering complexity.
And it's all managed, all revolving around this central supercomputer, the Well of Souls.
Okay, so the crisis starts there, with the computer.
Precisely. The Well of Souls is failing. There's a fundamental flaw, what the source calls a rip in space-time. It's like a deep mathematical error in the very structure of the universe it's running.
And Brazil's job is IT support.
Huh. In a cosmic sense, yes, he's the maintenance guy.
Okay.
The only known fix, based on Markovian science, is the ultimate hard reset. Turn the whole universe off, then turn it back on again.
The universal reboot. Simple yet terrifying.
And that's where the politics kicks in. The established powers, especially the Zone Council, they've been running things for thousands of years.
They don't like the sound of a reboot, I take it.
Not at all. A universal reset means their entire system collapses, their power structure dissolves, everyone might even change biologically. It's the ultimate disruption.
So their fear is basically self-preservation. Stagnation is their comfort zone.
Absolutely. Brazil represents the biggest change imaginable. So the immediate fight isn't let's save the universe, it's let's stop Brazil before he hits that reset button and ends our world.
Okay, let's start with the opposition. Serge Ortega seems key here. He figures out Brazil's game surprisingly quickly.
Ortega is fascinating. He's the Ulic ambassador at Zone. He's over 2,000 years old.
2,000? How?
Ancient, powerful, life-extending magic. But here's the kicker. He sees this long life as a trap. A velvet prison, he calls it.
Wow. So he's old, powerful, but also deeply cynical and tired.
Exactly. Which maybe makes him the only one on the council sharp enough or weary enough to see through the usual assumptions about Brazil. He didn't buy the idea that Brazil was just sending decoys or hiding out somewhere obvious.
He expected something sneakier.
Right. Ortega pegged Brazil as this nasty, clever pirate type. He figured Brazil wouldn't wait around for them to kill fakes. He guessed Brazil was already inside, embedded, maybe for weeks.
That's some serious insight for someone dealing with millennia bureaucracy.
It shows his mind is still sharp, despite the weariness, and he was completely right. Brazil had been there for 3 weeks.
Undercover. How?
Brilliant disguise. He came in as a Type 341 Agitar. Blue skin, horns, goat legs. The works? The source calls it a perfect makeup job.
Just blend in with the crowd of new arrivals, the entries.
Exactly. Not meant to fool a deep scan, just to get past the initial processing without raising flags.
But even Brazil slipped up. A tiny mistake.
Linguistic one. Almost unbelievable. During some routine interview, he let slip a few words of ancient Hebrew.
Ancient Hebrew. Why is that a big deal?
Because it's so rare, so archaic, the standard zone translators didn't even register it properly. They just smoothed over it.
But Ortega noticed something was off.
He did. And he had to consciously override his own translation implants, the ones he's had for centuries, to even isolate the raw sound, to recognize it.
How could he possibly recognize ancient Hebrew?
That's the mystery, isn't it? Maybe something from his incredibly long past. But recognizing that specific dead language, that was the key. It instantly flagged this Agitar as someone unique, someone ancient, someone who could be Nathan Brazil.
Wow. One linguistic fossil blows his cover and tells Ortega exactly where to start looking.
Yep. That slip changes everything. The council isn't searching blindly anymore. They know their target is already inside, playing the game, which sets up the whole ground war, involving Brazil's allies arriving as new entries.
Right, because Brazil needs help on the inside. He needs forces who can operate within these bizarre hexes.
Absolutely. It's not just about armies, it's about political maneuvering, biological leverage. He needs allies who can adapt and exploit the unique rules of their new homes. We see this play out through three key figures and their campaigns.
Okay, let's unpack that. Starting with Mavra Chang. She's Brazil's top commander, isn't she? And she arrives as a centaur.
A Dillian centaur, yeah. Described as sleek, powerful, golden blonde hair, icy blue eyes, suited for the Dillian hex, which is sort of semi-tech. But the really interesting part is psychological.
How so?
She finds that this new engineered body, it feels more real to her, more authentic than any human form she'd had before.
That's fascinating. After maybe centuries of adapting, this form clicks.
Mm-hmm.
What was Dillian society like?
Relatively chill, actually. Communal, semi-tech, light government. They use numbered accounts based on work you do, sort of a merit-based system. Seems peaceful enough.
But Mavra hits a snag.
A personal one. She realizes her longtime reliance on her companion computer, Obi. It's made her soft.
Obi, the magic genie computer.
Right. Obi gave her data, strategy, translations, everything, instantly. Now, without it, she feels like she's lost her social tools, her edge, that extreme self-confidence she needed to manipulate people in situations. It's rusty.
So her greatest tech asset became a crutch, a liability in this new, raw political landscape. She has to relearn how to operate.
Precisely. And ironically, the council gives her the perfect opportunity to sharpen up again, but in the clumsiest way possible. They try to assassinate her.
An ambush near a place called Getamundus.
Yeah, but they completely mess it up. They miss Mavra and end up killing innocent Dillian civilians instead.
Oh, that's bad. What was the immediate result?
Catastrophic for the council. Instantly radicalized Colonel Assam, Mavra's Dillian guide. He was a local war hero, highly respected. Seeing his people killed like that, it turns him into a fanatical supporter of Mavra and an enemy of the council.
So the council's attempt to stop a problem created its most potent symbol and leader. They basically handed Mavra a loyal, motivated army.
Pretty much. Guaranteed Dillian hatred for the council in one stupid move. Which brings us to the next key ally, Marquez. Totally different situation.
Marquez, former spy,
Yeah.
right? And he turns into a behemoth.
A Hakkazit. Huge. 3 meters tall. Males have these 9-meter tails. Living weapons, basically. He used his background as a police spy to project this air of conspiracy, which played right into the Hakkazit mindset.
What were the Hakkazit like? Paranoia seems central.
Oh, hugely. High-tech cavern city, ruled by a supreme lord who lives in constant fear of assassination, holograms, traps, electrocution floors, the whole 9 yards.
Sounds like a standard paranoid dictatorship.
But here's the twist. The deep political paradox that Marquez exploits brilliantly. Hakkazit society is, weirdly, the most democratic on the well world.
Wait, how does that work? Extreme security and democracy.
Because their democracy is violent revolution, the Hakkazit have this innate, almost self-destructive aggression. They manage it by constantly overthrowing their leaders. The source says the current lord has seen 67 predecessors in his 57 years.
So constant turnover is their stability. They need war or revolution to function.
Exactly. They need an outlet for that aggression, or they'd tear themselves apart. And Marquez sees the flood of new entries arriving, enough to double the population, not as a burden, but as the perfect outlet.
A safety valve.
Precisely. His pitch to the Supreme Lord is pure cynicism. He says, use these entries, channel our people's aggression into Brazil's war against the council. It'll keep us stable.
Externalize the violence. Give them a glorious war to fight instead of fighting each other.
It's ruthless but effective. He guarantees the Hakkazit a purpose, a massive conflict to pour their energy into, potentially stabilizing their society for ages. He secures this terrifying army not with promises of peace, but with the promise of bloodshed.
Truly Machiavellian. Okay, third ally. Ewa and the Aubreyans. This one sounds disturbing.
It is. Ewa, who was a high priestess before, is reborn as an Aubrayan. They're these flying, gliding, sort of rodent-like creatures living in colossal trees, sometimes 1,500 meters tall.
And their society has issues.
Massive issues. Extreme gender imbalance, like 10 or more females for every male. And this fuels a deeply misogynistic system.
How does that structure work?
Female status depends entirely on her relationship to the chief male. Even the highest-ranked woman is below the lowest-ranked man. Women do guild work, farming, carpentry, and creativity is kind of suppressed or hidden.
That sounds awful, but is there something more insidious holding it together?
Yes, the biological linchpin, something called the time. Every 6 weeks, all Aubryan females experience this overwhelming biological heat, an uncontrollable craving.
Not just physical desire, but something more addictive.
Described exactly like a drug addiction. It overrides everything: reason, rebellion, free will. This predictable cycle is the bedrock of male control. No matter how unhappy the women are, when the time hits, they have to go back to the males. Any revolt collapses.
Biological enslavement, that's horrific. How could you have possibly fight that?
Help came from an unexpected place. Obi, Mavra's old computer, now damaged and partly merged with Brazil's mind somehow. It managed a dream transfer.
A dream transfer.
Yeah, implanted the recipe for a counteragent, a potion, directly into Yua's subconscious.
A biological weapon to fight a biological prison.
Exactly. The potion needed rare fungi from the dangerous forest floor. It acted as a hormonal breakdown agent, specifically targeting and eliminating the time. It freed the females from that cycle.
Does it have other effects? You said it was a weapon?
Oh, yes. Crucial side effects. First, you needed regular doses, creating a new dependency, but one controlled by the female revolutionaries. Second, it fostered attraction and strong bonds between the women. Yua, with her priestess background, could channel that into solidarity.
Building unity where there was only competition before.
Right, and the clincher, add it to the men's food, and it has a debilitating effect. It completely shatters their control, makes them subservient. It flips the entire biological power dynamic.
So Yua could raise an army and neutralize the oppressors, providing a critical diversion for Brazil.
Perfectly. So you see the layers. Mavra brings the righteous fury and a martyr-led army. Marquez brings the sheer, unstoppable brute force driven by Hakazite nature. And Yua provides the biological chaos and diversion. It's a multi-pronged strategy tailored to the well-world's strangeness.
A really complex plan. It makes sense that someone had to coordinate all this.
Yeah.
Which brings us to Gypsy.
Ah, Gypsy. He's the shadowy figure pulling the strings behind the scenes, at least initially. He first shows up confronting Ortega.
Confronting him how?
Brazenly. He just appears, letting Ortega know he's aware of all the sophisticated surveillance. Immediately signals he's operating on a whole different level.
Who is Gypsy? And how can he just pop in and out, change form?
We find out later he's Gil Zinder, the original Markovian scientist who built the first Well computer core, his powers. They're not tech in the usual sense. He's directly linked to the Well's energies. He can manipulate reality locally by sheer force of will, like a mini Obi, but inherent to him.
The ultimate insider. Wow. And he uses this power to nudge Ortega.
He understands Ortega's velvet prison situation. Knows Ortega longs for an end to his endless life, but his beliefs prevent suicide. Gypsy is there partly to offer him that release eventually, but first, Ortega has a job to do.
Which was managing the council, stopping them from just slaughtering all the entries.
Precisely. The council votes overwhelmingly 431 to stop Brazil, and they're ready for pogroms. But Ortega argues against it, using cold logic. He tells them, you have to hedge your bets. Meaning, what if Brazil succeeds? If the universe resets, any hex that wiped out its entry population would face total annihilation in the new creation. He uses their own fear of the reset against their immediate impulse for violence.
Pure political calculation. Stop the genocide not out of morality, but out of fear of cosmic retribution.
It's brilliant, cynical maneuvering, and it works. It buys the Allies time to gather their forces. While Ortega handles the politics, a main military opponent emerges on the ground. Gunit Sang.
Tell me about Sang. He sounds nasty.
Oh, he is, the Dabi leader. Described as vicious, insect-like, and he has this terrifying ability to liquefy his body, flow through solid rock, and reform.
Seriously, through rock?
Yep. Makes him incredibly hard to track or contain. He becomes the primary military commander opposing Brazil's forces, a relentless subterranean threat.
Okay, so the stage is set, the armies are moving, let's get into the final campaigns, the betrayals, the sacrifices.
Things move fast now. Marquez's Hakazite army marches first. He actually bluffs his way through one hex and breeds these giant beaver-like rodents.
Bluffs them how?
Tells them he has non-existent super bombs. Scares them more than his giant warriors do. They let him pass immediately.
Clever. Meanwhile, Brazil himself finally shows his face.
Yeah, he was hiding out in Glathriel. He rows ashore to meet Marquez, and the final confirmation from Marquez, the spy, isn't some grand reveal. It's Brazil lighting a cigarette.
A cigarette.
Marquez recognizes the taste of the local tobacco monopoly. That tiny human detail tells him this is the real guy.
But Brazil appearing causes a stir with the locals, right?
Oh, huge stir. The Glathrielites are prototype humans, entries. They see him and immediately fall down worshiping him as the god.
Which is great for morale, maybe, but terrible for secrecy.
Exactly. It basically puts a spotlight on him, and Gunit Song notices.
And Song strikes at Brazil's weak point.
Mavra Chang. He captures Mavra instead of Brazil, recognizing she's the one person Brazil genuinely cares about, his only family, as Song puts it, leverage.
And what they do to her. It's beyond just capture.
It's horrific. Sang's allies, the Dahir, perform this procedure. They surgically sever her main nerve connections from the neck down. She's paralyzed, completely immobile, unable to speak.
My God.
But they don't leave it there. They use Dahir magic to animate her body, make her walk, appear conscious. She becomes a puppet, a living corpse, intended as bait for Brazil, a walking, talking trap.
That's monstrous, utterly cruel, and Song tries to use this to turn Mavra's own ally, Colonel Assam.
He does. Visits Assam at night, offers Mavra back, seemingly fine, in exchange for betraying Brazil. And Assam almost does it. He's heartbroken about Mavra, and he misreads Brazil's focus as coldness. He thinks Brazil is ancient. He won't care about one person if the mission succeeds.
He's ready to trade Brazil for Mavra.
He is. But the betrayal is stopped. The Genomondans intervene.
The big, hairy, wise creatures with mind powers.
They project the truth into Assam's mind, show him he wouldn't be saving Mavra, just getting back that living corpse. They reveal the full horror of the Dahir trick.
How does Assam react to realizing that? And his own near betrayal?
He seeks redemption immediately, returns to the battle lines just as Sang's forces are breaking through, and he does something legendary.
What does he do?
He leaves his command post, grabs 2 submachine guns, his fancy Dillian sword, and charges the enemy line. Alone, screaming, firing.
A suicide charge.
Pure fury and sacrifice. The source calls it a magnificent madman's charge. He dies, obviously, but his insane heroism rallies his troops, shames them into holding the line. His death buys Brazil critical time.
Another sacrifice. But Mavra is still trapped, paralyzed, animated by magic. How does she get out of that?
Physical escape is impossible. Her body is ruined. So the Genomondans try something radical, experimental, soul transference.
Moving her mind, her consciousness.
Exactly, into a different body. The logic, according to Gedomondan understanding of is that you can't put 2 complex minds into one complex body without driving it mad.
Okay.
But you can put a complex mind into a simpler animal body. The animal body acts as a vessel. It can handle the load.
So where do they transfer Mavra's consciousness?
Into a light blue female Aegitarian Pegasus, a flying horse. Neuter, apparently. The form is purely tactical.
Tactical, how?
Flight. Brazil undergoes the same procedure, becoming a pink Pegasus. They need to fly over the remaining enemy forces and the terrain to reach the well's entrance, the equatorial barrier.
Shedding their damaged bodies for speed and flight. Okay, the final approach. This leads to the last stand at Borgo Pass.
Right. Borgo Pass is this narrow, crucial canyon leading to the Well Avenue. And this is where Sergio Ortega makes his final choice.
The ancient ambassador decides to die.
He leaves zone. The moment he does, the life-extending magic breaks. He knows he only has hours, maybe days. He says he's going home to die. He joins Marquez and the volunteers holding the pass.
After 2 millennia trapped in that velvet prison, he chooses a meaningful death.
Precisely. He wants his end to count for something. And Marquez, the Hakazit commander there with him, gives this incredible speech about why he's fighting a hopeless battle.
What's Marquez's reason? Beyond just fighting.
He talks about feeling like an alien creature, his whole existence, trapped in his various bodies, Chugak, now Hakazit, always disconnected.
That internal conflict again. Identity versus form.
Yes, a common ailment on the well world, he suggests. He says dying here, in this impossible fight, finally gives his brain and his body important use. It justifies his existence.
Wow. Finding meaning in the final moments. Ortega agrees.
He reflects on how most lives are forgotten, like they made no difference. But dying here, deliberately, against overwhelming odds to save the universe, that ensures meaning. That gets remembered.
What were the odds?
Ortega estimates 5-1 against them. They know they can't win. They're just buying hours for Brazil and Mavra.
And while they fight and die at the pass, Brazil and Mavra, in Pegasus form, reach the equatorial barrier.
The glass-like shield around the well. But Gunit Sang, relentless as ever, catches them right there. Ortega and Marquez bought time, but maybe not quite enough.
Another confrontation. Does someone else step up?
The Gedomondan guide with them. They state plainly they believe in Brazil's cause, willing to sacrifice anything. The creature then deliberately touches one of Sang's liquefying forelegs.
Why?
It triggers a massive energy release, like a nova. A fatal overload for the Guet-Amandon, but it creates a momentary blast and distraction. Brazil and Mavra dart past, getting closer to the barrier.
Another sacrifice buys a few more seconds. But Sang is still there.
Injured, but recovering fast, ready to pursue them through the barrier. And that's when Gypsy makes his final dramatic entrance.
Gil Zinder, the Markovian scientist, what does he do?
Pure theater and strategy. He uses his power to appear as the ghost of Colonel Assam. Psychological warfare against Sang, playing on their feud.
And he's armed with a bucket of water.
Yes. Remember Assam's old stories about the Dabi weakness? Water forces them to solidify if they're liquid, makes them brittle.
Right.
So Gypsy as Assam confronts Sang, wounds him with a sword, forcing Sang to start liquefying to escape into the ground, then splash, pours the water on the half-liquid form. Sang solidifies instantly, breaks apart, dead.
The final obstacle removed by the orchestrator himself, Brazil and Mavra clear.
They pass through the equatorial barrier into the Well of Souls complex.
And Brazil changes.
Instantly sheds the Pegasus form, assumes his true Markovian body, and it's something else. Gigantic, pulsating, pink and purple blotchy mass, 6 blue tentacles with suckers, radiating energy.
And pain. The source is excruciating agony.
That's key. His true state is constant pain and loneliness, the burden of being the custodian for 40 billion years, his first act inside. He dumps knowledge into Mavra's mind.
Makes her his equal, a functional Markovian.
Exactly. She needs the knowledge to help operate the well for the reset. She instantly understands the universe's structure, the Markovian science, but she also instantly feels that same crushing agony and isolation that defines Brazil.
She shares his burden. And it's then, at the very end, that Brazil tells her the truth about himself.
He confesses. He's not God. He's not even truly Markovian by birth. He's a compulsive liar.
A liar.
His words. Says he was originally a Jewish rabbi on Old Earth, the wandering Jew figure from legend. Recruited centuries ago after some tech tyranny took his family, he learned the Markovian secrets from a surviving centaur builder.
A lying rabbi, taught by a centaur, holds the fate of the universe. Why him?
His unique talent, he claims. Getting people to believe whatever he says, true or not. His believability, combined perhaps with his cynicism and detachment, made him suitable for this awful, repetitive job.
Okay, so the universe itself, it's a mathematical construct run by the well, and the damage is a core instability.
Yeah, the rip means the math is breaking down. The system can't run calculations without falling apart. Only solution. Total reset. Power cycle the cosmos.
Which means annihilation first. But they try to save people.
Billions. Brazil activates Markovian gates across the dying universe. They kidnap souls, consciousnesses, pulling them into the well just before the lights go out. A massive evacuation.
And then, the final moment.
Brazil intends to delete himself, commit suicide, finally end his 40-billion-year watch. But sharing the agony with Mavra changes his mind. He realizes he can't inflict that eternal loneliness on her.
He chooses to stay. For her. So Mavra pulls the plug.
With her new Markovian understanding, she issues the single exact, deliberate mathematical command, and the stars, visible in the well-world sky, flicker and go out. Midnight at the Well of Souls. End of Universe 1.0.
Wow. And the reboot, how long does that take?
Incredibly fast from the well's perspective. It grabs a new power source, a white hole from another universe, and starts creation. 12 hours of well time equals about 6 billion years of cosmic expansion, cooling, star formation.
An instant universe, basically. And after 6 well-world days.
The new universe is stable, running smoothly, fixed. Mavra and Brazil emerge from the well. They're back in human form, slightly shorter, but together. The new reality is described as warmer, lusher, richer.
A clean slate. So let's bring it back. We went through Ortega's cynicism, the Hakazit paradox, Yua's biological prison, Assam's sacrifice, Marquard's finding meaning in death, all that struggle, all that complexity.
Served essentially as a delaying action. Hours bought so Mavra could execute a single command. It really highlights how all the political maneuvering, the military might, it's all just froth on the surface of the deeper reality, the underlying physics managed by the well.
The conflicts mattered. They cleared the path, removed obstacles like Sang, but ultimately they were just part of the cycle.
A cycle of necessary destruction and renewal. That seems to be the core theme. Rebirth, accepting destruction is needed for creation, and the immense, terrible burden of knowing how it all works, which Brazil now shares with Mavra.
And Brazil himself.
Yeah.
Is he changed?
He's still Nathan Brazil, 40 billion years old, cynical, maybe a bit less lonely now, but still the guy waiting on a beach for the cycle to inevitably begin again.
Which leads us to that final thought for you, the listener. Something to chew on from all this.
Yeah. If the universe requires this catastrophic reset every few billion years,
Yeah.
and the only one left supervising it is this eternal, compulsive liar who secretly wants out,
How much faith can you really put in the idea of endless progress, or the stability of any given cosmic creation when its architect is so complicated?